Marketing messages shower consumer endlessly, whether it's through billboards, television commercials, Twitter posts, Google ads, you name it, marketers use it. Now, all of these mediums are very important to conveying a message to the consumer and to creating that relationship with them. But an important aspect that we need to remember is store layouts, the significance of understanding and magnifying on the knowledge and research that we have of this is can make or break helping the consumer just finalize that purchasing decision. A few of the things that really go into the store layout is just the layout itself in terms of the space, music, aroma, color, and crowding. Um, in terms of looking at the layout and space, although there are several different versions, grid and free flow are the most common, as stated by the University of West Georgia. Um, Grid tends to be used more in markets, grocery stores, for example. Um, Free flow tends to be used more in the fashion industry, and although both have their advantages and disadvantages, we can take a look at those to just see what benefits and not so benefits come from each of those. In the grid layout, for example, when looking at those, although it's cheaper and a very effective use of space, in the consumer itself, it kind of becomes very uninteresting. It limits browsing and it stimulates the consumer to just be in a rush while they're in the store. When it comes to free flow, it stimulates more impulse shopping because it's very allows them to browse. However, there's for the company itself, it's a waste of space. It's not very effectively used. It has a higher cost because of it, and it's very difficult of cleaning when compared to the grid layout. Um, Another aspect to the store layout is music. Now, music has different effects on different consumers. When you look at a study that is described in consumer behavior textbooks, slow tempo music background, for example, it increased the gross margin for a restaurant by almost 15% per customer. Now, this means that the customer stayed in the store for longer, which is good because it created a bigger profit now. But if we look at restaurants where they want a fast turnover, then you might want to go with the high tempo music. Another aspect is aroma. Now, when we look at the e-commerce business and how much it's been growing in the past few decades, in the late 90s, only about 1% of retail sales took place online. However, now at the second quarter of the 2013, more than 5% of retail sales took place online. Now, when we look at online stores and retail stores, we can see that brick and mortar stores have a lot of advantages, and really capitalizing on those advantages can help create more customer relationships than an e-commerce ever could. And one of the ways is through aroma. A website cannot provide that. Now, when we look at aroma, studies have shown that scented environment produced a greater intent to revisit the store. Another study found that an aroma, but not another, increased slot machine usage in Las Vegas. And a third study found that in the presence of a certain aroma, a retail setting increased pleasure, arousal, time spent, and money spent, which is kind of what we're looking for. Now, another aspect to the store atmosphere is color. There's been a lot of research done in color. We can see that color really does have a significance on a person's responses to it. Now, when we look at them, with warm colors, we see that there's an increase in blood pressure, their respiratory rate, and it attracts customers because it gains attention. However, on the opposite side of the spectrum are cool colors, which create a relaxation, peace, calmness. All of these are aspects that a company should really consider when choosing a color. In terms of crowding, crowding is negative for both the consumer and the company. No customer wants to walk um, into a business and wait in line for like an hour to purchase something. So this is something that companies really look to limit. Um, when looking at all of these aspects, some of the conclusions that we can draw on is that there has been a lot of research done through this, and by really using all of by really using and understanding all of this research, a marketer can better meet the desires, the needs, and ultimately successfully create relationships with their consumers. Thank you.